Hello and welcome to another episode of Block Breaking Season 2. I need your help. And I know this is not a gimmick, this is not clickbait. I really, honestly need your advice and your opinion. So I've been doing some work on my mega base, and if you didn't see last episode, it's up on top of that massive cloud behind me. And I'll explain that in a moment. But I've been working on it for the past week or so, and it's just not coming out the way I wanted it to. And it's just not looking the way I thought it would look. And I'm really not sure now if this thing is doable, at least the way I planned. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to first, in case you haven't seen the last episode, I'm going to quickly explain what my plans are for my mega base. And then I'm going to show you how far along I've gotten. And then I'm going to kind of pull you behind the scenes and show you what I've done in creative and point out what the problems are. And then after that, I think I'm going to lay out a couple possible solutions, which is where I need your help. All right, so let's get started. All right, so for the folks who weren't able to catch last episode, let me quickly tell you what my plans were. And for the folks who did watch last episode, this should just be a really quick refresher for you. So my plans for this mega base was that I was going to try to build a castle from a Dungeons & Dragons adventure called Storm King's Thunder. And this castle is called Lin Armal. It is the home of the Cloud Giants, and it's a massive castle which is sized for giants, and it floats on a magical cloud. Now, how cool is that, right? I mean, the picture looks awesome. The castle sounds awesome. You know, it's a Dungeons and Dragons. It's from a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, so all the floor plans are laid out, all the sizes are laid out, and I thought this would just be a really cool build to try to do. So now let me show you what I've gotten done since last episode. So last episode, I showed you guys this cloud. So this is the cloud that the castle sits on. This massive, humongous thing. All right, so there's two clouds. If we remember from the picture, there was kind of two parts of the castle, the small entrance part and then the large castle part. And you can see the size of it by looking at the shadow that is casting on the ground here. So since last episode, I did get the structure put in place for the first floor. And that is this right here. So what I'm standing on is the curtain wall that's kind of along this balcony that's on the rear side of the castle. And here is the interior. Now again, this is nothing glamorous yet. This is all just the structure. There's no detailing, no windows, no bells or whistles yet. It's just getting the structure in place. But this is what the interior looks like. And I apologize for the darkness. I kind of have minimal lighting in here just to prevent spawns. But you can kind of get a feel for the size and the grandeur of the interior of this build. Now you come into these rooms, they're pretty decent size. And of course, you know, it's the home of giants. Everything in here is large. These ceilings are nice and tall. You can actually kind of fly through here if you can navigate correctly. There we go. All right. So let me take a look at the top part up here and show you. So right now, let me pop in a free cam. This is basically the floor layout. And this matches the schematics in the Dungeons & Dragons adventure. So this is the hallway we were just flying in here. Here's a big audience room here. There's some rooms on the side, some smaller rooms over here, and it's another couple big rooms on the side here. This is that outside balcony part. And then that is the part that's going to eventually lead to the entrance of the castle. So you can just see the amount of materials this took to build. This is just this wood is the ceiling of floor 1. The second floor will have its own flooring and of course all of its own walls. You can see here I've made the walls basically 3 blocks thick. So that way, number one, it feels correct. It feels proportional to the size of the build. But also when I start doing the rooms, I can make the room walls different than the exterior walls, for example. Like if I didn't want these walls to be these materials, it would not affect the look of the outside. And even and the same thing when you're going in between rooms, if I want this room to have different walls than this hallway, I've got the freedom to do so. So you're probably thinking like, wow, that's actually looking pretty cool. What's your problem? Where is the problem? I don't understand. And if you're thinking that, then at this point in the game, I would agree with you. Like, I thought this first floor came out really well. Some folks from the server stopped by, and they had some very kind things to say about it, and how impressive it was looking. Oops. And when you go in here again, it looks nice and impressive in here. The size of it is really cool. But I took all that positive energy and all of that excitement, and I went back into creative, and I started designing floor 2 and floor 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And then that is where the problem showed itself. So I think I'm going to take a stroll over to creative mode and show you what's been going on. You're going to kind of get a little bit of a look behind the curtain here with my design process with this build. And I guess you could kind of say that they're spoilers, because you're going to see the castle in a slightly more completed state than it is here. But it also might not be spoilers, because I might not be building this. So let's hop over to creative and let me show you what's going on. Okay, here we are in my creative world. So the first thing I did in my design was I had to map out what the footprint of the castle would look like. I just needed to know how big it was and how it was going to fit into the world. So as I'm kind of moving through here, I'll describe. So this next one coming up is pretty much the same build, except I put in the full grid system, right? So a Dungeons and Dragons maps, they're built on a grid, essentially, right? And each grid in the map is 10 feet. So let me just slide on down here, and you can see that it is actually sized proportionally. So 10 feet is about 3 meters. I'm sorry, is about, 3 meters. So inside these 4 squares is 3 meters. So this is about 10 feet. I think it's just slightly under. On the map, there's just a thin line dividing the 10-foot sections. Now, this is Minecraft. If you want to leave room to be able to build walls and stuff, you kind of need the sides of the grid to be an extra square. So actually, this ends up being a little bit larger than the map shows it, right? So this 10 feet, and then we got a 3 foot, and then another 10 feet, and then another 3 foot, and then another 10 feet. So it is actually a little bit larger than the map shows, but it's just kind of a limitation with Minecraft. You just kind of have to do it that way. This is the platform that I built in the sky originally on the server, and this was all made out of iron, so I was able to get a ton of iron really cheap from Average, from his iron farm. And this was the base plate that I was going to build the cloud around and then build the castle on top of. So now right up above here is the cloud. So this is a cloud that I showed you just a moment ago. This is where I designed the cloud in creative mode. And let me get up here. This thing is so big, even moving around in creative feels slow. So you can see here, this is the cloud design, and it just has that iron base plate here. And this is the design of the cloud with all of the lights in place. And if you didn't see last episode, all of this is made out of snow, except to get the light to shine through to light up the actual bottom of the cloud, I had to put powdered snow beneath all of these lights. And that's why I have this like crazy amount of light blocks in here. It's to make the bottom of the cloud not look like a dark black burnt marshmallow. Instead, it actually looks like a nice looking cloud. So now let me move over to the castle build. So you probably caught a glimpse of it a moment ago. So I'm going to try to keep my face looking down at first for a while. So you can see here, this is floor 1, the first floor that I just showed you. And now here's the kind of the spoiler reveal. Here are the rest of the floors of the castle. Again, this is just the base structure. There's no windows or anything, no detailing. This is it. And honestly, this looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. Now let me show you the picture of the castle again from the Dungeons and Dragons module. See, this looks way cooler. The proportions are taller, and it just looks really, really nice. But now this one, everything looks like short and squat, and I'm just really not happy with the look. Like, I feel like the grandeur of the picture is just not coming through in this build. Two problems here. Number one is the shortness of everything, but then the other thing is the fact that, well, Minecraft cylinders just aren't nice and smooth, right? So you kind of have these ugly looking pixely walls instead of a nice smooth wall. The reason why this thing looks so short and squat is that I sized everything the way it described in the adventure, which was the 40-foot high ceiling. So each floor in here has 40-foot high ceilings. So the second floor has them here. And I'm going to pop into, I need to pop into FreeCam to show you this a little bit easier. The third floor has 40-foot ceilings. The fourth floor has 40-foot ceilings. So everything in here has 40-foot ceilings. Now, if we take a look at the artist rendition of the map, they say 40 feet, but this isn't 40 feet. So these levels on this drawing are probably at least twice that high. You can kind of see by the positions of the windows, you can kind of get a feel for like what that 40 feet is. If you look at the balcony, you can see a little bit of a grid mark on the floor. You can kind of see what 4 of those grid marks look like and what that length is. And then when you turn that length vertical, you can see that the walls are way, way taller than that. So this is my problem. Although this does still look kind of cool, I don't like the way it looks all short and squat. And I think it looks kind of funny. And I'm afraid that if I go forward with the build this way, I'm just not going to be happy with it. Like, it might still be cool, but I don't think I'm going to be happy with this. So this is where I need your help. I have a couple of solutions to propose, and I really need your advice to kind of help guide me into which one of these solutions I go with. The first option, we'll call this option 1, is just stay the course. Build a short, squat castle and deal with the fact that the proportions don't look kind of right. But there are some advantages to this. So let me talk about the advantages to option 1. And if I can get my keyboard controls right here we go. So one option is the 40-foot ceilings actually look pretty decent here in these rooms. I think these ceilings look pretty nice. It kind of gives these things a nice proportion inside here. I think that's good. Another benefit to it being built this size, there are several stairwells that connect these floors. So you can see, like here, there's a stairwell that connects the first floor to the second floor. And that fits in nicely right here, and that matches the maps. And I had to play around with some of the sizes of these steps to get it to work, but I got it to work. And we even have some big sweeping stairs here that connect up here from level 1 to level 2 as well. And if I can get to, where's the stairs up front here? Here we go. There's even some kind of curved circular stairs here that go up to level 3. And then these kind of go all the way up to the roof here on level 4. All right, so when you're walking around the interior, these things are actually sized pretty nice. This is a pretty nice size for this room here as well. So those are the advantages to this. Another advantage to this, keeping it this size, is it's only going to be an insane amount of stone. We're going to keep the amount of materials down to the level of insane. Now let me propose option 2. Option 2 would be build this thing to the correct proportions as per the exterior view of the artist rendition, right? Which from the outside I think is going to look way, way cooler. So before I show you what that's going to look like, though, one major disadvantage to this is that it's no longer going to be floating up on a cloud. It's going to get so much taller that it's going to have to actually be sitting down on the ground. So let me pop over here and show you this. And this is going to look ugly because I basically just did some quick copying pasting of the floors to like double them in size. But this is kind of what it looks like. Ignore these little floating battlements. These levels really end where these battlements are. Same here for here. So this is with the floors doubled in height. And again, this is going to go from ground level instead of being up at cloud level, and it's still going up to pretty high up here. And I still have like the short proportions of these roofs and stuff. But the proportions of the castle are looking a lot more, or at least closer to the art in the adventure. Now, some advantages to this. It's going to look a lot better from the outside, just proportion-wise. Disadvantages to this. It's going to be sitting on the ground instead of up in a cloud, and I lose the cloud castle aspect of this entire build, which is honestly one of the things that drew me to it. Another disadvantage is, again, really big Minecraft cylinders start looking not so hot when you see all of the ridges in the curves. You know, more rectangular builds are going to look a lot nicer when they scale up. Now, I was thinking that the height of the ceilings would be a pretty big disadvantage as well, and you'll have to excuse there's like lighting glitches from where I copied the layers. You kind of have to ignore that. They're not going away. But when I got in here and I saw what the new ceiling heights were, I actually thought this looked pretty cool. Like, in these bigger rooms, these higher ceilings actually look nicer. Like, it actually looks more proportionate. Now, the hallways look pretty tall and slim, but it really gives you a bigger feeling of grandeur in here. Like, these rooms are just now absolutely massive. So the interior, I don't think is going to be a problem. I think the interior is going to look nice. But then when we're talking interior, we got another problem, and that would be these stairs. So now these stairs, to get them to go from here to be twice as tall, they're pretty much not going to be stairs anymore. They're going to be like these crazy vertical, insanely vertical slopes. So all of these stairwells are probably going to have to be converted into something like spiral staircases instead of normal staircases. So let me show you what the outside looks like again. And remember, this looks like chunky and weird and gross because of the copying and pasting, but the size of it does look better. It really does. And even if it's sitting on the ground, it's still going to look really impressive. This height up here is, again, this roof would be probably taller and slimmer to match the art. But I mean, this is already like 265. Like, this thing could easily still hit a build limit, even built on the ground, if it's built to the correct height proportions. So now I ran into another problem with this. When I doubled these, the first couple of floors looked really nice. This tower looked way too tall. But then this centerpiece still looks too short. So let me show you the art again. See, now when you look at the art, that centerpiece, those walls almost look like they're 3 times taller. And then the tower, there's like 3 floors in that tower, but those floors in that tower look much, much shorter. So let me pull back to the build here, and you can see how it just, although the kind of that first and second, third floor look nice, when you get up here to this, it still looks goofy. Like, this now still looks way too short. This looks way too tall, and the proportions are just strange. Now, if I made the ceilings in this one like 3 times as tall to match the art, these ceilings would then just look comical. I think that would just be too big for these rooms. These hallways would look really, really silly at that point. So option 2 has its pluses, but option 2 also has its downsides. And I'm starting to think that the downsides to option 1 and option 2, option 1 being go on as planned with the short, squat castle in the clouds. Option 2 being build it at the ground level, but build it to the correct proportions. Both of those have their downsides, and both of those, I don't think I'm going to be able to get over their downsides. Like I don't know if I'm going to be happy with this build. I think I might have to face the reality that although this map and this picture look awesome for Dungeons and Dragons adventure, it's just not possible to build using those layouts, those sizes, and that art. So option 3 is scrap this base idea, come up with something else. You know, option 3 would be, it was a valiant effort, but it just ain't gonna work. So, disadvantages to option 3. I have to unbuild all of this. I have to take down this entire massive cloud. And that will hurt, but I'm willing to do it. So, sorry if I was a bit long-winded with some of that, but I really needed to kind of get my points across here. And so yeah, this is where I need your help. I really honestly do need your help because I really don't know how to proceed with this. So, option 1, keep going as planned. Keep the castle up in the clouds. Who cares if the outside looks kind of squat and short and dumpy? The build will still look pretty cool. Option 2, build this same castle, but build it down at ground level and build it with the much taller walls and ceilings, and at least try to make a cool giant castle out of it. And option 3 is it ain't gonna work. It just ain't gonna work. Even if I do option 1 or 2, we've got these weird looking cylindrical walls that just aren't gonna look good in Minecraft. And it's just way too many resources to do this anyway. And I just have to admit that, you know what? This just ain't doable. I'm just gonna have to come up with a better plan. So please drop me a line in the comments. Let me know what you think. Give me some advice. I really need it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I really want to make a cool base, but I'm just afraid that this one ain't going to come out very cool. So I anxiously await your input and your advice. And I guess I will just see you in the next episode. And hopefully I will have come to a conclusion with all the advice that I will be getting. So until I see you next time, you take care of yourself, okay? Bye-bye.